Hello, and what is going on YouTube? I'm back. I am a week late, but with good reason. This is episode 2 of becoming half an Ironman. I'm gonna hold my mic, because why not? Why not, eh? Basically, I thought it'd be an interesting thing to do in terms of putting 2 of my weeks together. And you can see the data and perhaps the cardiovascular change over 2 weeks. But before we go any further, like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. Follow me on any socials, and if you want to share this around, you can. That'd be grand. Thank you. So we're going to give a little rundown of what actually is happening today. Okay, so we've had actually week 0, because that was like what was in the books. Week 1, you saw that on the last episode. Was it week 2? And then we've kind of got week 2 and 3, which are done. I am currently in week 4, just about to start, go for a run. I'm going to check my Whoop, which doesn't have a clock on it, so that is the most annoying thing about the Whoop, apart from this lovely data it's given us with all of my training. So we're going to go through actually what happened in week 2 and week 3. There had been a vague situation in the fact that I was really busy with work. So I have got my training in. I haven't got all of, so the sessions I did actually bin off. I binned off, so I didn't manage to double up each time, but I'm still hitting at least 3 decent CV sessions a week and 1 other. I have played golf twice, which has been noticeable in terms of CV distance, in terms of changing stuff. But we'll go into that a little bit later, because there's some fun stuff. And even in as little as I'd say 4 weeks of CV, and I'm a fit guy, I'm not. There has been a definite change in what I've been able to do, definitely been change in recovery, and we'll see that over, I'll put like a month review kind of thing, and you'll see what is happening Whoop-wise. And yeah, why I'm not really recording the lifting, but I think that's a different video on Whoop versus strength trainer. It's not good. Anyway, right, because we've got to talk about what have I purchased in these last 2 weeks to help me with my cause, what has been going through my head, and we'll give a summary of what's been happening throughout these different things. Okay, so again, month 1, I'm trying to replicate exactly the same workout on all of the protocols as I can. Apart from a swim, I did change slightly, and I will tell the reason why, okay? Mainly because I was in a different place. And I'm learning to do something a little bit different with my swimming, because that's a slightly advantageous position I have myself, and I'm a decent swimmer. Okay, so like, subscribe, do that for me. Love you guys, thank you. All right, so what did I buy this week? Essentially, the biggest things that I've noticed that I've had to go out and purchase, being not a big runner, is, and also, what is this, to run without music and podcasts, or not, basically. I'm trying to do like one not, one with, one not, one with, just be with my own thoughts on a couple of times, because it's a little bit odd, and I've been told by ultra runners to like just go out and run and just kind of get to know your cadence and stuff like that. So it is an interesting thing, but I don't really like it. Being with my thoughts is a scary place to be, don't you think? But yeah, there's basically, I prefer to listen to a podcast as I'm going around. But what have I purchased? Basically, the only things that I really got are more shorts with a phone holder in it. There's nothing crazy that's been happening. I bought myself earplugs, which went in and then fell out within about 2 lengths, so they were lost to the world. Thank you, Slazenger, £4, Sports Direct. I'm not getting that back. And then anything else, I haven't actually, very minimal purchasing. 2 pairs of shorts, kind of I went rogue off Amazon and bought some stuff, but I do like the Lululemon ones. Obviously, Lululemon ones are about 90 quid, rogue Amazon ones, 15 quid. So we'll see where we go with that, and see whether they alter my performance. Obviously sponsored by Compete, but my feet have been okay. The vapors, The streak flyers are working wonders, as we know. So that's been fantastic. But yeah, nothing else has really been going on. I will be purchasing something for my swimming going forward, probably in the types of flippers and hand things and a pull buoy, because there's going to be extreme dominance in the upper body, and I'm going to have to learn to swim for a long time, which is fun. Right, so let's go into the data, because that's what you're here for. My nuance, why I've made some coaching decisions, that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, so I'm going to get the swimming out of the way, because you're not really that bothered, but I did swim 3 times, so I doubled up on a swim. So I've got swim 1, swim 2, swim 3. So swim 1 and swim 2 were exactly the same swim. Not much has changed in there. In terms of, you can see the activity strain, 10.8 to 11 actually increased over this time. I'm not too sure why that is. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what it was also a case that I did it really late at night on a Friday night on one of them, and the one was nicely in the middle of the day. But I would like to note that there was no zone 5 heart rate in my second swim, which is fantastic, and 15% against 16%, so not much change in terms of 9 minutes, and then zone 3 work, 19 minutes. I'd say these swims are pretty much the same. And then you've probably got a little bit more zone 2 swim in the other there, okay? So I think that's just because there wasn't as much resting between. You can see on my other swim, I had to take a big gap there because I had to switch lanes and wait for something to chill out and go, okay? Then I had to replicate, whereas this one was a consistent basis and the lane cycle was okay. But what I think is more interesting, obviously the heart rate is slightly better. Going from swim 2 to swim 3, I did change the protocol slightly, okay? So you can look at the strain score, is big difference. So total, in terms of swim effort, time is pretty much the same, okay? So I spent 22 minutes at 50 to 60% of my max heart rate, so 13 minutes that I typically spend, and you can see the zone 3 is the dominant, okay, 22 minutes there. Zone 2, barely anything in zone 4, no zone 5, okay? I wouldn't even count those two, really. So, which is a big difference, because I was doing 150 meter efforts, times like 7, I think, on the swim 2, what I have been doing, and I went to a Lido, okay? So the water's colder, but also the pool is longer. So I decided to go and, because I was doing 200, I was doing 200 meters. So 4 lengths of a 50 meter pool on the swim 1 and 2, okay? And then I moved to 244 meters, basically 240 meters at a time, in the Lido. And I only did 4 sets. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of that apparently. So distance wise, really, really similar in total distance. Obviously I swam for a little bit longer in the Lido, but tried to control my heart rate a little bit better, okay? So same distance, same amount of time, but my heart rate was a little bit more consistent, and I was able to sit in zone 3 a little bit easier, which is an indication that I'm getting better at swimming for a longer amount of time, which is fantastic and exactly what we want. Okay, my washing's done. So yeah, we're moving through, like, it's about 14 to 1500 meters is what I was aiming for per session, and we're just going to build this one up, if I'm really honest. The one on I'm going to do 240, kind of possibly pump it to the 300 meters at a time over the next kind of 2-3 weeks, and that's going to be the big gauge of how I feel and whether we dip into zone 4 whatsoever nearer the end of the session. I don't think I will. I think I'm going to get fitter because of everything else I'm doing. All right, so that is mighty decent. Okay, so I'm only doing front crawl stuff. I'm warming up with a little breaststroke, but that's about it. Okay, so the bike stuff, we'll move on to the bike because the run's not as sexy. There's not much going on with the run, but the bike, we can show some other data as well. So we'll get the bike 1 and 2 up, okay? So you can see there's a bit of a change here, okay, in terms of zone 4 work, moving from bike 1, 14.2 strain to 14.9 strain, but I will be able to tell you why there's a little bit of a difference here. So you can see zone 5 was pretty much the same, still ramping through in exactly the same workout, okay? So I spent 7 minutes, that's basically 2 minutes more in my high zone. I started to push the boat out a little bit. I felt like I could, and I've started increasing up to what should be my FTP. And I feel like it's taken me a month to get back to my functional threshold power of, what am I at, like 285 it's preset as. So I didn't really lower it, but I kind of am using that as a gauge to get back up to, which is probably easier to show from using these two pieces of data. Okay, so from week 0 to week now, essentially, the last session I did, both are 102 minutes, okay? But you can see distance-wise, I'm basically covering a kilometer more now over 4 weeks of training. Okay, so 1 kilometer now, the PES isn't fantastic, so that's the pedal efficiency score, I believe. That needs to be up near a 70, but that's just a case of, there's a bit of, in the middle of this, there's a little bit of a, like a lull. So there's about 11 minutes where I'm not really pedaling that hard and I'm really down at zone 1, and the pedal efficiency just goes way off, okay? Unfortunately, but you can see my average power basically is at 200. I've gone up 14 watts, which is fantastic, okay? So I am pretty pleased with that, of a 14 watt increase over, I'm pretty sure I can hold higher, but over that hour, I'm holding the 214, which I know I can hold more than 250 for a full hour, but there's 2 lulls where I'm not doing anything, essentially. My cadence and my wattage is 0, and there's 2 bits where nothing's going on, okay? So we're gonna see this build up. I'd like to get to about a 35 kilometer distance using this Olympic try, okay? So I might hit this for 1 more month, doing it probably 5 times in the month to see whether I can increase this from 33 maybe to 34, okay? I feel like I can add another kilometer again. Cool. So that's going to be hopefully exponentially. I'm going to get a little bit better and work exactly to the threshold power that it's giving me, okay? Because the heart rate doesn't tell the true story, because I'm pushing just as hard as I can. I'm not trying to go slowly, but I'm trying to increase my power output and my average speed, which is great. Cool, and it's working, okay? So that's through 1 month, it's an increase of 14 watts. We're gonna take that, okay? What would that be like? Quick maths, if it was 20 watts, it would be 10%. So we're over 5, what would be 7% increase in power output and performance over 1 month. I will take that, okay? Imagine if that's exponential in 1 year over a month. If I get to a 70%, 84% increase over 1 year, I'm gonna be sitting quite well, okay? All right, we'll move to the run, last thing for us, guys and girls, okay? So nothing too crazy here. You can just see the strain score was big different. It's a similar time of running, but there was 2 different routes and I felt like absolute crap on one of the other ones, okay? This was after a heavy day of work and I was just like, I think I did 9 personal training sessions, so it's 9 hours on my feet, plus probably 2-3 gaps, so probably 11 hours and then commuting in and out. So that was the issue with that run. I was still as quick, okay? I will let you know, and probably like at the end, I'll do a comparison of like week 0 to week 4 at the end of month 1, I think, and we'll see how much we've increased and gotten better, because we're going to keep doing a logging test like my combine over time, okay, just to see how quickly I'm getting through like a 5k time. Obviously this on my 1 hour kind of time trial on the watt bike, and we'll probably stick to probably a 1k or like a 500 meter swim. I need to go and do that and see, because it's just been a capacity issue on the swim. Okay, my upper body cannot last that long. Okay, so you see the heart rates on the runs, very similar, a little bit more in zone 5. You can see just from pure fatigue, if I'm really honest. And I think I put the time it on for a lot longer, okay, because I didn't have my Whoop on me, my phone on me at the time. Cool. So that is a little outline of what has been happening from the last 2 weeks, and you can see the difference between 1 and 2. In terms of my strength stuff, that's the one I binned off. You can definitely go and have a look at the next video, probably coming out in the next couple of weeks, is why I'm not really using it or tracking it on the Whoop, because the strength trainer is absolute nonsense right now. So, but don't bear in mind, obviously I'm doing just complete full body sessions, trying to do 2 a week, minimum 1 a week, because that is going to be paramount to keep me being glued and stuck together. That means I'm training probably 5 times a week, and hopefully once I'm a little bit better, I can probably manage a 6, okay? But that's gonna get in the way of golf. All right, if there's anything you want to hear, if anything you want to see in terms of my data, why I'm making some decisions, I'll probably make some more decisions based off what I'm going to do with my runs in month 2 and going forwards, and definitely in terms of distance, and kind of I'll probably work in speed weeks over different times. So I'm going to train into like an undulation going forward and push at certain weeks. So it might be week 1 and week 3, I back off. Week 2 and week 4, I go for it a little bit more, okay? So there's gonna be certain things we undulate based off me feeling and what I'm doing with my fuel, okay? Beautiful, guys. That's a lot of information. But if you've got anything you wanna be coached, always, and my doors are always open if you want to come here and have a little chat about any of my coaching. Obviously I specialize in power output more than anything else, and training for sports like football, golf, rugby. Who have we got? Tennis. We've got loads of people. We've got cricketers looking up there, and all the personal trainers who want to learn how to program properly. All right, guys, obviously like, subscribe, do all the things, share, comment, blah 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 blah. Go tell me that you've watched the fucking show. That'd be amazing. All right, thanks a lot, guys. We will catch you most likely next week.